We're talking this evening about the issues that face the 3rd Congressional District. And, Marty, let me begin with you. Let's talk a little bit of politics. We were just talking about the economy. The politics of getting elected in this race. The Republican Party, the Tea Party. Is there a difference between the two? You made your announcement to a Tea Party gathering. Do you need the Tea Party to win? And how, if it does the Tea Party differ from the Republican Party?
Well, Hank, as you're very well aware, 52% of the voters, the registered voters in Massachusetts, are independents. They're not affiliated with either party. And clearly, without the independents voting, neither the Democrats or the Republicans can win. Massachusetts historically has always swung towards the Democrats. Scott Brown's election last January showed the power of the independent vote. And the Tea Party groups, and I define the Tea Party more as a group of Americans that just woke up one day and said, whatever the reason is, whether it's Obamacare, whether it's the stimulus, whether it's too much taxation, I've had enough. I need to step forward and take action. Those are just plain Americans. We define them as the Tea Party. They go to meetings.
Do you define yourself as a Tea Party member?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, I mean, do you find a stigma to that when you go out and you're knocking on doors, or when you're talking to people? Because I know you're talking, for example, to a lot of Republican town committees.
Right.
Are many Tea Party members members of Republican town committees, vice versa?
There's a very large overlap. And I wouldn't say that all Tea Party is a Republican, nor would I say all Republicans are Tea Party is. Absolutely, that would be false. The Tea Party, as I said, is not necessarily somebody that goes to the meetings, holds signs at rallies, but to me it's an American who just decided it's time to take action and not sit back on the couch any longer.
Brian, need him to win in
Well,
November?
I think you need to pull a lot of different people together to win any election at any level, and that's what this process is all about. The primary process is all about putting forward a candidate that can come out and challenge Jim McGovern in the general election and win that election. That's what the primary process is all about. I don't know if the Tea Party folks just woke up recently and said, I've had enough, I'm going to get involved. I think a lot of people have been watching for a long time and are very frustrated and are now organizing around the Tea Party. But I do think this process is all about electability, and that's where our campaign differs from my other friends here. We have been elected twice as a registered Republican here in Massachusetts. I served as the chair of the Board of Selectmen in Hopkinton. I've done the very things we're talking about here at the local and regional level, and now I want to take it to the United States Congress. But yes, I think it's very important that you pull a lot of different organizations together to win an election. And after the primary, you got to be able to pull independents, as Marty referred to, and all the others together, including Democrats, to win this election in November.
Bob, how do you win, and what's the difference between the Tea Party and the Republicans?
Well, there is a little bit of an overlap. When you start going south in the district, there really isn't any Tea Party influence at all. You see Tea Party in Northborough, Paxton, there's some in Worcester and whatnot. There is a little bit of an overlap. The Tea Party people are, a lot of ways, they're affluent people that are being the ones that are being redistributed. I have a simple process to win the election. I'm asking for a conservative coalition for the Republicans, for the Tea Party people, and for the conservative Democrats, Reagan Democrats, who tend to vote pro-life.
Brian says he's run as a Republican. He's won in Massachusetts. That you don't have that type of experience.
Well, I ran as an independent back in 1992 against George Peterson and Marshall Platt, and I learned a bit of lesson about people that run as independents. They usually lose. In fact, they often lose. I myself ran as a planning board member. I was elected twice to the planning board in Westboro, but neither time was it as a Republican. In Westboro, you just run as an individual. No party affiliations allowed.
Mike, run as a Republican, but I mean, do you identify yourself as a Tea Party member? Do you need to get the Tea Party on board behind your candidacy to win in the primary and then to win in November?
Yeah, well, Hank, one of the big kickoffs that I had in this campaign was at the Northborough Tea Party back in March or April. And at that time, I hadn't had much exposure to the Tea Party, but the first thing that occurred to me when I'm talking to them is these are people who work really, really hard. They're people who work 2 jobs. Their wife or their husband works another job. They're driving the kids around all the time, and they just don't want their money taken away from them. But there's one other thing about the Tea Party is why we need them and why they need us is because they're dedicated not just to go and vote, they're dedicated to go and knock on doors, to make phone calls, to put up signs, and so they're really the foot soldiers who are really
so that they're activated. Brian, are they more activated than members of the Republican Party?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people right now across the electorate that are energized and looking forward to the elections this fall. I think that the Tea Party is very active, the Republican Party is very active, people in the Democratic Party are very active right now. I think a lot of people are energized, and that's a good and healthy thing for our country and for our economy, hopefully in the future too, that we elect some people that understand how the economy works and put people back to work by getting people with business experience in the United States Congress. So I think it's great that they're all energized.
Marty, do you find the Tea Party people feel that the Republican Party went too far to the middle, that they were no longer, looking after their interests?
Well, Hank, it's tough to define what the Tea Party as a whole believes in because it isn't as a whole. It doesn't have an official platform or an official statement. It's a group of individual Americans. You're going to find some people that think that the party has gone too far to the right, too far to the left. Individuals, they're going to rate each individual on their own merits.
I guess part of this is, as an outsider looking in, Bob, and everyone, is that I'm wondering, is there a Tea Party candidate here? Is there a Republican Party candidate here? I mean, is Marty the Tea Party candidate? Brian, are you the Republican candidate?
And Mike and I are fighting for the conservative vote, yes. And like that's how I look at this election.
Is that something different?
There's subtle differences, and the most subtle difference was when Scott Brown made that vote for the financial services bill. Every Republican I know said, "What are we talking about? What's wrong with that vote?" Every Tea Party person I talked about said, "I want to kill that guy. I want to choke him." And so there's a basic difference there. I mean, I call the Tea Party constitutionalists because they're absolute constitutionalists. They believe in a strict interpretation of the Constitution, and Republicans tend to be a little bit more of the pragmatic, politicos, where they just sort of, the ends often justifies the means in order to advance the party.
Mike, I mean, what do you think? I mean, are there two different factions at work here? You got to try and meld all this all together. No matter who comes out of the primary, do they all get behind you for November?
I think they do. The Republican Party in Massachusetts is an unusual party as it is because they've been in a minority for just such a long, long time. So they're not really a machine type of Republican Party like you might have in some state where things are more split. But I just have to say that again, my impression of the Tea Party is just regular folks who work hard and they just want to keep their money. When I talked in front of the Northborough Tea Party, I felt like, boy, I connect with these people because they're on the same page as I am.
All right, much more when we return right here on the Hank Stolz Experience.